Hello everyone, it's Partyfoot back here with another replay of Mechabellum. Yeah, continuing to play a few games. Doing fairly well so far in this season. I think it knocked my MMR down a little bit, and now I'm, I guess, reaping the rewards of that. I guess the benefit of being very casual is I don't really play enough games to very quickly develop like a kind of actual stable state MMR. Although I guess we might get there if we continue making these videos. We decided to start with Sledgehammer Arclight, a very nice, like, beefy start with Sabertooth Spec. And our opponent went for a Training Specialist and picked Arclight Void Eye, it looks like. No, excuse me, it must have been these Mustangs, and then he's gone for the Arclights to complement the Void Eyes. Void Eyes not too bad. Well, Sledges are good against everything. I think Sledges probably beat Void Eyes, right? I guess if they're concentrated or behind chaff, that might be a different story. Mustangs aren't particularly good against what I've got either. We're going for a defensive game this game. Maybe play a bit more on the range side with these Arclights. Arclight's really nice. I think actually into Void Eyes, I realized in this matchup that if in potential situations they can hit the sweet spot. It goes back and forth. Our opponent does go for the level 1 energy absorption, like healing, and I was quite, I thought he might play a kind of a standard style, so I didn't really expect this aggression. We lose our Arclight instantly, which is good, quite good for him, to his leveled Void Eye group. A few of our units are wandering over to take this tower, one crawler and an Arclight. Arclight might have been better over here. Unfortunately, we lose the Arclights a little bit too quickly. They would be quite good at clearing out these Mustangs if they had a little bit more time. Those Sledgehammers not really tanking for them that well there in that situation, with the layout that we have. Arclight finally makes it all the way to the enemy tower. He's going to be able to take it down and then make a last stand, which is nice. It's very heroic. He's going to get, quite a lot of progress towards being a renowned hero as a result of his actions here, but these leveled Void Eyes are again... Look at how successful they were on round 1. I mean, especially with that regeneration, if they don't get taken down pretty quickly, then they do wreak quite a lot of havoc. So I decided to go for a Marksman. I like Marksman, anti-air, single target, which is pretty decent against taking down some of these, like, especially these guys. I really don't mind the sniper taking these guys down. It seemed like we had the tools already to deal with the Mustangs if we were able to get enough chaff to keep them off these Arclights, so we brought up some Fangs. They'll hopefully be good to, like, draw him in a bit as well. Our opponent goes for the Farseer from the unit drop. I don't know, maybe Farseer is still extremely good, I'm sure. I haven't been feeling it as much, perhaps, as I used to. I guess it's a good all-round unit. Another Arclight here as well. Trying to catch as many of these Mustangs as possible. They're not too bad against the Void Eyes either, although, I think this tech probably is what would make the difference. We do use a missile here, which takes down his most powerful pack. Which is obviously a bit of a blow to his situation, because that really did quickly take down my Arclights in the last round. And look at this. The AoE is hitting all 3 of them, which is extremely nice. They still win the fight, though, to be fair. But that I had never anticipated that that you could hit all 3 Void Eyes with an Arclight, like, basic splash. So definitely intriguing. I don't know if they were particularly bunched. Additional deployment slot. Always like that early in the game. I mean, deploying more stuff is like a super no-brainer. Because you can just get more and more and more chaff. And, like, to a certain extent, they can just get a Vulcan, and if you just feed it chaff, it'll just mow it all down. But, being able to recruit a lot of units. I did consider going for a flank here with the Saber, and having like and then I just thought to myself, it's a slow Saber. It's going to take like 2 weeks to get to the tower, at which point, like, why is it even over there? So we brought it back onto this side. You know, certainly it'll be good at taking down these Farseers. If it sits behind some chaff, it is a pretty decent single target unit. We get armor on the Arclights. It was buffed this patch. Armor is only 100. And with all these Mustangs and stuff, I thought, what if I got armor on these Arclights? Then they certainly won't be dying to the Mustangs. At least I don't expect they will. So, I mean, these Void Eyes don't really care about armor. Nor do these Farseer. So, it's a reasonable amount of protection against an Arclight. You know, not a huge amount. Like, what was it, 30% or something? Okay, we join the battle again. Our opponent has some late Mustangs now over here, but that doesn't seem super useful for him. I don't mind. Make use of this slow pack over here. I could redirect them maybe, or do something. They're definitely wasting a lot of their time over here while we valiantly battle with these Void Eyes still up. Click and misclick. Doing a really good job. Quite strong in the early game. This sniper though, also doing a really good job locking onto these targets. Really nice position, I think, for him. You can get quite a lot of value out of individual snipers sometimes. Right, this time... Is this a super supply specialist? It is. We went full late game in this game. Absolutely as hardcore as possible. We decided to level a lot of our Arclights, as well as our sledges here. So, a big turn for, like, breakpoints. Suddenly all of this has double the damage and armor. Our opponent is not yet that close to leveling, which is unfortunate. Oh, he's got some Mustangs coming up soon. His units haven't been doing as well. These Void Eyes are getting close, though. And Void Eyes are pretty good against these Arclights, so if he's able to take out all the chaff, they will clear us pretty quickly. Not super tempted to take up this level on this marksman at this point, because they're probably going to be one-shotting eyes from level 3 and like doing really good decent damage to Arclights and one-shotting them too. So it's like, you know, leveling him further at this point means that he can continue to gain experience, but seems like not a high priority for tempo. So our opponent, and I don't think I noticed this in the game, just an anti-missile defense. I wonder what they were anticipating there. I guess I had launched a missile at him last time and taken out his Void Eyes, which he didn't like. So, well, now that that only cost me 50 and this cost him 100, so that seems fine. I guess money is worth a little bit less later in the game as you get more income. Saber didn't do that well in the first round. Taking a little bit of damage on our sledges immediately as well. But this pack's got nice cover going into the side here. And we've got Fangs filtering in just the right time to keep the Arclights behind some screen. And the sledge is connecting with stuff. And as we maybe had hoped, doing a lot of damage to the Farseer. Managing to fulfill its destiny with a couple of last shots there. Ah, don't we love to see a Saber do well? Then, we were thinking about the Tarantula. Like, Tarantula would obviously be very good against all of this kind of chaffy type stuff. But I did think to myself, well, you know what's really nice, though? A big, fat, leveled Typhoon. These things are pretty cool. I think they are, like, maybe cooler than they are good. They're definitely not bad, but the lack of ability to extend their range is always a little bit of a thing. So they get in. They're either carrying or they're just all dying and doing nothing, right? Well, maybe that's extreme. I'm still really learning Mechabellum, to be honest. So, you know, I do like Typhoons. I do like the Typhoon barrier. We'll see if that gets picked up. Our opponent goes for Phantom Rays out of that drop. He continues to put down more chaff, it seems like. His Arclights have range now. And he's leveled the Farseer and given it an amp core. He's gone for Stealth Cloak on these Phantom Rays, which is definitely an interesting technology. It can, like, seriously change a battle. We do only have these 2 Marksmen and now these Typhoons that are anti-air, so I guess we didn't have much before this turn, as we picked most of that stuff up. Did we pick this one up this turn as well? Oh, we did. So, slightly anticipating that something could come out of the air. And then we do actually spend a lot of money at the end of our turn there to get the 2nd level of defense as well. I mean, and immediately I'm seeing Sledgehammer survive with slivers of health. Maybe it wouldn't have made the difference, but it was certainly close. Mustangs also, I guess, being not overkill units, really suffer against crawlers when they have more HP in that manner. Our new Typhoon's doing quite a good job. These level 1 ones not getting quite the same DPS, but, you know, that's to be expected. Marksman continues to dominate in this solo backline position. Okay, getting a bit more damage out. That's feeling pretty good. Improved Warfactory comes up. Acid Blast. I did think he's going to go for a Warfactory, right? And then I didn't think about that anymore. Because I had my armor, I put it down on my guy, and I had that thought. You know, there's Improved Warfactory. Wouldn't you go for Improved Warfactory to kind of end the game? I went for leveled Typhoons because, you know, I was feeling them in this game. I was thinking to myself, you know, lots of chaff, lots of stuff. Let's go for you know, the march of these like chain gun guys. This is going to be sick. Abandoning all thought of this Improved Warfactory, which I definitely still think I could have anticipated. We do level up the sniper. Just at this point thinking, yeah, maybe going for these Typhoons leaves me pretty vulnerable to something big, since we still don't have that much DPS, having sold the Saber. You know, Arclights aren't really going to kill something big. Something big being like the Improved Warfactory we just saw in the cards, which our opponent did definitely take. He also has Training Specialists, so he's going to level the Warfactory as well. It looks like on this initial turn he wasn't able to actually afford the level, which probably was good for us. We close the distance. The Typhoon's still protected by a big layer of chaff, getting pretty good uptime. Sledge's decent at clearing these crawlers. They are trickling in quite nicely for him, though, in a single file where they can potentially tank multiple shots. Warfactory is becoming an island, surrounded by my smaller, not that great at single target units, but we are going to wear it down. This level 5 marksman probably making up a decent amount of that DPS. Although, you know, a Typhoon's no slouch, but there's a lot of HP on that Warfactory. Our opponent survives. And then, I think at this point, I definitely chose not to respect the Warfactory as much as possibly I should. I went for efficient tech, so I could start doing fun stuff that I wanted to do, rather than necessarily thinking about how I would beat his Warfactory. Look, I like to have fun, okay? I like my shields. It's the headcanon that I need in my life. We're going for the barrier. And I think, you know, it's certainly not a bad option, but against a level 2 now Warfactory with quite a substantial amount of HP, a third of a million. You know, our Typhoon strategy, where our best guy is doing a respectable 300 damage per second, you know, multiple guns, multiple units, but, you know, it's not quite hitting that hard. I think these Warfactories also doing a lot of damage this patch too. We can survive okay. We're not going to just immediately disappear, but it won't take that long. He's got high explosive as well, which I guess has probably reduced his damage a little bit, maybe to my fortune. These Phantom Rays coming in with the stealth, then revealing themselves and getting mown down. I mean, I don't know how to use that. I guess they're quite good. It's quite good against like long-range snipers or something, if that's all that's left. We did pick up a couple more of these guys, just, you know, more DPS, kind of very arbitrarily. But we didn't dedicatedly deal with the War Factory, and at level 2, it just decided to keep coming. Where we had previously managed to do, we get a few damage, a few shots off while debuffed, and we're still only chipping into this massive guy. So definitely we disrespected the War Factory, and we're actually going to do it again, but this time, I'm proud of myself because it felt cool to be minimalistic, okay? But this War Factory is going to win this round for him, swinging it back a little bit in my face, which, I did acknowledge to myself in this moment that maybe I had just, ignored the fact that putting out 2 level 1 snipers is not going to deal with the War Factory. Improved as well. Additional deployment slot again. How could we resist? We're going to go for a lot of chaff, because 2 additional deployment slots, again, I'm not that attuned to the fact that the undo button exists, so I put down all 3 of these crawlers being like, hell yeah, I'm just gonna swarm this guy, and then I was like, but wait, I need something to actually kill it though. Wait, and then I was like, oh wait, those 4 deployments, we still have our mass recruitment. So luckily, being as stubborn as I am to just get more crawlers, in the face of the 3rd turn that a War Factory is just barreling into me. It's level 4 now with range. It picks up that next upgrade. That's crazy. I'm like, I actually don't have anything to kill it. Our DPS is a single level 6 sniper, which, is pulling its weight, but not, 780,000 damage worth of weight. So we get, in the end, realizing that we're actually messing this up, we get 1 melter with range. The piece de resistance. This is the cherry on the top of this beautiful typhoon shield combination that I've crafted here. The implacable advance, just giving him hope, just giving him hope with this final, that this factory might be able to turn it, that it could carry, that it could. The illusion of hope. Because the rest of his army was so crushed by what I was doing. Here we go. Let's see. This insane gambit to simply trust that what I was doing was so overpowered that the only thing I needed was 1 level 1 melter. Those crawlers distracting everything, of course, which is, I guess it was part of the plan, but they're all pretty much dead now. We get the debuff. We're closing in on this level 4 War Factory, and we lock on. And this melta is feeding. Look at that. Look at that. Maxing out on damage, and it still takes quite some time to bring it down. And that's the game. So, I can be stubborn. I'm allowed to be stubborn because it still works. I'm allowed to be stubborn because it still works. This guy, turning the tides, the single greatest turn for a level 1 melter that I've ever had, for sure. Typhoon's still doing an incredible job too, though. Not the greatest numbers on this flank. This flank was kind of maybe an overinvestment. Our opponent, we end up just walking over there. I wanted to be able to basically not be flankable without having to think. So I just put more units over there. But what I maybe should have done is concentrated them over this side. I mean, we won. We won reasonably well. This War Factory absolutely could have carried too, though. It was strong. It definitely was pushing in. I don't know what he would need to get in order to have more success. I didn't think these Phantom Rays were probably worth it. Maybe he should have sold out of those and built some additional stuff to support this factory. I don't know. Anyway, thank you very much for joining this replay again. And this is Partyfoot for one more time. Thanks for joining. If you are here and watching, feel free to leave a comment or a like. And yeah, goodbye. Thank you.